Hello and welcome back to another session on cybersecurity. Hope you guys are doing great. So today we're going to take a look at how to use scripts with Nmap. So we have some scripts available in Nmap, and we're going to see a few of those scripts, and we'll see how these scripts work. So for this, I'm going to use two machines, two virtual machines. One is Kali Linux and another one is Metasploitable 2. So I'm going to use Nmap within Kali Linux to scan and get some information about certain servers inside Metasploitable 2. So let's start. First, let's take a look at the IP address of my Kali machine. So the IP address is 192.168.56.102, and these two machines, virtual machines, are connected using the host-only adapter option on VirtualBox. So they form a network. Now let's take a look at Metasploitable 2. What is the IP address here? So the IP address of Metasploitable 2 is 192.168.56.101. So I can really check by just making a ping, and certain packets are sent and we are getting certain replies. Let's stop this, and we see 7 packets transmitted and 7 packets received. So these two systems are able to communicate with each other. Now let's take a look at Nmap. We've already seen a demonstration of how to use Nmap and certain commands with Nmap. I'll be leaving the link for that lecture in the description below. You can have a look at it. And today we're going to see, we are focused on the use of scripts with Nmap. So for that, let me first clear the screen. And where do you find these scripts? These scripts come inbuilt with Nmap. So where do you find these scripts? So for that, you can go to this specific folder, Nmap and scripts. So here you'll be able to find a list of scripts. So these are predefined scripts that will help you to scan in for brute force attack into a system, something like that. So we have a lot of scripts for various purposes here, and we're not going to take a look at all these scripts. We'll be taking a look at few of those scripts. So I'm going to show you how to use scripts that will perform or gather information about MySQL database server running on the victim machine. So for this, I'm going to just run scripts that start with MySQL hyphen. So here we see a lot of scripts: MySQL audit, mysql-dump-hashes, mysql-info. So what is the use of all these scripts? Say mysql-info will fetch us information about the MySQL database server running on the victim, and mysql-dump-hashes will help us in dumping the password hashes of the various users present on the MySQL database server. So likewise, MySQL brute force attack will be used for carrying out brute force attack on a MySQL database server. So we're going to see how to work with all these scripts. You can very well take a look at how to use these scripts by performing sudo cat and MySQL. You can just, if you are interested in knowing more about what a certain script does, you can very well take a look at it, brute.nse. So we'll be able to see what the script is all about. So we'll be able to see the code here, and we'll also be able to see the usage, how to actually invoke that script, what parameters we should be passing when we are trying to invoke that script, and a lot of details about that specific script. So if you're looking forward to understand each and every script and how it works, you can very well take a look at this. The usage is nmap -script, and you call that specific script mysql-brute, and this is the target machine's IP address. So that talks about the usage, and you'll also be getting information about what will be the output when you're going to run the script. See here, the target IP is the victim's IP, and this is the port number where our MySQL database is running. And when you perform a brute force attack on the MySQL server, and you're going to have some credentials like root and root for a user, so you're going to get the valid credentials dumped out. So this is how you go through a script before you actually use it to get more information about that script. So I've been through a few scripts and I've understood how it works. I'll be showing a demo of those scripts. So what is that we are going to actually attack here is we have our Metasploitable 2 machine which is running here. It's a vulnerable Linux machine. We have talked about this a lot I'll be leaving some links for the description on how to set a metasploitable 2 on your systems and form a network. If you're new to all these things, you can go through those lecture videos and come to this session. So here we have got our MySQL database server running. So let's take a look at it. So here we have MySQL user root. So it's a database having user to be root without a password. The password is null actually. So how will you view databases in a MySQL database? It's a show databases. So we have a lot of databases here. And if you want to use a database, you go with the command use MySQL. So I already posted a lecture on the various commands that you can execute on MySQL database server. It's like messing with MySQL. I'll be leaving for the link for that video lecture in the description below. So if you are new to MySQL database commands, you can just have a look at it. Otherwise, it's fine if you understand these commands like simple commands using a database. So we are now using the MySQL database here, and if you want to see the tables, so show table. So these are the tables, and we have this user table in specific here. So we have select user comma password. So you can describe this table. I'm just selecting two columns from this table. Select user comma password from user. So you're going to see here we have user root with the password to be null. We have user Satish, the password is Satish, whereas it is hashed and stored inside the database. So these are the users, and we'll see how to actually dump this information using Nmap onto our attacking machine. So Kali Linux, we are going to run some scripts using Nmap, and we'll be dumping all this info from within the database to our attacker. Let us scan the MySQL database server available on the victim. So let's get some information about this server. For this, the command is nmap, and then we're going to say --- script. So we're going to use a script like that, and we're going to give the name of the script here. So what is the name of the script? mysql-info.nse, and the victim's IP address is 101. Yes, so our victim's IP is 101, and you're able to see here when you're scanning the target using that specific script mysql-info.nse, you're able to get some information about that MySQL database server running on the victim. It is 3306 is the port number corresponding to MySQL database server, and it's open, and we are getting some information about the protocol, the version of the operating system that's running on the victim, and some capabilities of the database server that has been enabled, like supports transaction, supports compression, and status is auto commit, and all this info that we're able to get by running this one specific script. What is that script we have run? Nmap -script mysql-info.nse. That's the script name, and this is the target that we have specified. So let's go further. Let's take a look at more scripts. Let's see. Oh, I've just run this. Let me stop this. Let's clear the screen. Let's run more scripts. For instance, sudo cat mysql. I just want to take a look at this script, databases.nse. So what is the use of this specific script, databases.nse? So you can very well see here. So we are going to pass some arguments. When it says args, you're going to pass some arguments. So MySQL user, what is the username? That should be passed as an argument. And you can also pass the MySQL pass. This is the password, and we can also pass password. So it's going to attempt logging in using the username and password. And once when it is logged in using the credentials, it will try to dump the database information out from your MySQL database server. So this is the usage for mysql-databases.nse, the next script. Let's clear screen. Let's run that nmap. So the command is -script and mysql-databases.nse. So here I've already run this, so that's why you're able to see this. So it's hyphen script hyphen args. So what is the use of this? You are passing some arguments, and MySQL user, the username is root, and we have a user with username root and password is null. So that's what I've given here, and this is the target IP address for my victim. So this command, what it does, let's take a look at this thing. Let's see what the script does. So what is the script we are executing? MySQL databases, and we are passing these two arguments. Username is root and password is null. So with these credentials, it's going to log into the database and it's going to dump the information. So here you're able to see the script has actually dumped the databases out. So these are the databases available inside of MySQL database server. So if you take a look at this, let me show databases. This is the info that we have dumped, and we have used root and null to be the password. So what is that we understand here is, if you're going to use very simple passwords like root and null, the hacker can very well have a guess at it. He can just run this script with username to be root and password to be null, and then you'll be able to dump out all the databases from your database server. So that's the use of this script. Let us take a look at another interesting script, dump hashes. So what do you mean by dumping hashes? Very well, we have already seen this specific command we have run, right? Select user password from user. So here you are able to see the hash for a specific password for an user. So we'll be dumping these password hashes out. So let's take a look at this specific script. So the script is, let me clear screen. It's sudo nmap, and it's a script, and the script that we are going to use here is mysql dump-hashes.nse. And what are the arguments that we are going to pass here is, we are going to pass an username and password. So we are going to give script args. And what are the arguments we are going to pass here? You have to be very careful with the arguments. So the username that we are going to give is root. The username is root, and password. What is the password that we are going to attempt here is, it's going to be null. So these are the arguments that we are going to pass. And then what we are going to do next is, we are going to give the IP address of the victim. So 192.168.56.101. So here we are trying to dump the password hashes from the database server using these arguments for the script mysql-dump-hashes.nse. Let's check what it performs. So here is this output. So you're able to see the dump hashes has actually dumped the password hash for the specific user from the database table. So what is this password hash on the victim? You can see there is this user Satish with the hash password, which we are dumping it. So once when you have the password hash with you, you can use tools for cracking the password like John the Ripper, or other tools like Hashcat, which will be helpful for cracking the password hashes. So if you're going to have a commonly used password, then your plain text password is going to be out. The next script that we are going to see is brute force attack. So we'll see how to brute force attack a MySQL database server using an username file and a password file. So for this, let me clear the screen. So I have created two files here. That is, one is users.lst. So what is that we have in this file is, we have a few usernames which I've added. You can also use a large file with a lot of usernames, and you can also use some word lists here. So I have created this users.lst file wherein I have some usernames, and msfadmin is one of the usernames. And I also have a password file. So you can see I have a pass.lst which I have created, and This is going to have some passwords like Tom, Satish, Matthew. So MSF admin is another password. So this is a file containing usernames and this is a file containing passwords. So you can also give your own files when you're carrying out this brute force attack on the MySQL database server. So let's see how to run this. For this we have Nmap and then hyphen script, and the script, I mean that the name of the script that we're going to use is mysql-brute.nse, and the arguments we are going to pass here is like we're going to pass these two files. One is userdb is equal to the users.lsd, the file that I have created, and passdb is pass.lsd, the password file which I have created, and this is the victim's IP. Let's now run this. What is the use of the script is it's going to perform a brute force attack. It's going to take the username here and then the password here. It's going to try these combinations on the victim. So let's run this. Let's see whether we have any valid credentials from those two files, whether we're able to crack into the database. So here it's able to find that there is one account, Satish. The username is Satish, the password is Satish. So how it was able to find the username and password is it was able to use the combinations here. Username is Satish and password is Satish. So we have an user inside a database wherein the username is Satish and the hashed password is actually Satish. So you can really perform brute force attacks using your own word lists, using your own files, your username file and password file. So Nmap scripts can be used for password cracking. That's quite interesting. Now let's take a look at a few more scripts that will help us with our MySQL database information gathering. Let's take a look at this specific script, MySQL users. So you're going to find the list of users for a MySQL database. Let me clear the screen here. So the script is nmap hyphen script. The script name is mysql-users.nse, and what arguments we are going to pass here is the username to be root and password to be null. So here we are just making a wild guess that the username is root and password is null for our database server, and we are passing the target's IP address. Let's see what this script does for us. So MySQL users, it's going to fetch us the data about the users. So we have this users, right? Satish, root, guest. See, that's what we are fetching here. So it's able to fetch the data about all the users, usernames like guest, root, Satish. So that's what you're seeing here on the right hand side. So using this specific script, mysql users.nse, and passing the credentials, we're able to get the users data from the MySQL database server. Very interesting and very dangerous command. So if you're going to have some users in your MySQL database, those are given permissions to remotely log into your database server, and you're going to have some very simple passwords like root, null, or some common passwords that are available in the word list. Definitely an hacker is going to take out all the information out from your database server. So how to prevent this is you always have your database server on the private network. You're not going to provide public access to your database server. Nobody is going to give public access to the database server. Why should you let someone directly log in to your database server from a remote system? So always put that in a private network and have your applications take full control over who is going to access your database server. So don't have any users with such privileges who can actually log into your database server remotely. And that's one more thing. And let's take a look at mysql-query.nse. See, a hacker can run a query or a query directly on your database server from a remote system. So that's what is the use of MySQL query. Let's take a look at that. We'll run this query nmap hyphen script. So the script name is mysql query.nse, and we are going to pass some arguments here, hyphen script hyphen args. So the query is, what is the query we are going to run. So that is show databases is the query, MySQL query that will run, and it's going to use this username to be root and password to be null, and the victim's IP is 101. So this is going to log in using the credentials, and it's going to run this query on the database server and return the results for us. So you can run any MySQL query, and that's the use of this script. Let's take a look at the output now. So here you're able to see show databases. That's the query, and the user name is root and password is null, and we're able to run that query on the database server and get the information about the databases. Quite interesting. So we've seen a lot of commands on how to exploit a MySQL database server using Nmap scripts. We have seen mysql-info, mysql-databases, and mysql-dump-hashes, mysql-brute, and mysql-users, and finally mysql-query, which helps us to run a query on a remote MySQL database server. Not only that, we have a lot of other scripts which I've explored. I'll just give a quick look at those scripts which I've learned. That is, we can also scan for the Samba servers available using this specific script. Let me just type that thing here. So smb-os-discovery, that is the script we are going to use. Let me delete this. Clear screen. So let's take a look at the script, nmap -script. So the script we are going to use here is smb-os, smb system info is also there. So we also have smb-os-discovery. So let's take a look at smb-os-discovery, and the victim's IP is 101. So it's going to get us some information about the Samba server. So we already discussed about the use of Samba servers in Linux. So here we are going to talk about smb-os-discovery. What is the operating system and that's supporting this Samba server version. So we have the operating system and then the Samba server version. So we are getting some information about the operating system and the Samba server version running in our victim. So we have certain scripts that will help us, like smb- type of scripts, which you can very well take a look at. We can also scan for any outdated FTP services running in our victim. For that, we can use this specific script, Nmap. The script that we are going to use is script. So ftp ftp backdoor.nse. So it's going to scan whether you're going to have an outdated FTP service running on your victim. So the target IP is 101. So let's take a look at this, whether it's going to give us some information on whether we have an outdated FTP service running on the victim. That's what is this script all about. So what is that we are going to get here? Yeah. So here we are getting this. There's a vulnerability, that is we have VSFTPD version 2.3.4, which is a vulnerable FTP service running on our vulnerable Linux machine. So we are going to get some information about whether we have a vulnerability with respect to FTP services running on the victim by using this specific script, ftp-vsftpd-backdoor.nse. Now let's take a look at one more script, that is how to perform a brute force attack on an FTP service running on our victim. So for this, the command that we're going to use is this specific command. So the script name is ftp-brute.nse, and the arguments that we are going to pass are like what we have done for a MySQL brute force attack. We have our users.lst file which I have created, and pass.lst. So users.lst contains the list of usernames, and pass.lst contains the list of passwords, and this is our target IP. Let's run this, and this is going to target the FTP port running on port number 21. So let's take a look at this. So it's going to try some combinations of usernames and passwords, and it's going to find us a valid credential out of that info that we have provided. Let's wait for the output now. So here is this output. So it's able to find the username to be msfadmin and password to be msfadmin to be the valid credentials using the information that we have provided. So we can perform password cracking on an FTP service using Nmap scripts. For this, the script that we have used is ftp-brute. We can also perform SSH commands. Let's see how to perform SSH brute force attack on an victim. So we know SSH, the port number is 22. Let's use the Nmap scripts for that. So for this, the script I'm going to use is ---- script. It's ssh-brute.nse, and you can very well see here the arguments we are passing are the same like the users.lst file and the passwords containing and the passwords present in pass.lst file. So we're going to pass these two files and we're going to perform a brute force attack on the SSH service. So let's see whether we are able to find some valid credentials using that, using those two files which we have created. So what is the script name? ssh-brute.nse. And what are the arguments? Username file and password file. So here you are able to see it's trying these combinations. So it's going to take the username from this username file and password from the password file. So it's going to perform all these combinations, and finally it will give us what are the valid credentials that worked. So msfadmin, or those two valid credentials. These are the valid credentials, and the port number is 22, and we are focused on this service, SSH service. So once when you know the username and password, you can also run some commands on your victim system. Say, let me clear the screen. So for this, the script that we are going to use is script ssh. We're going to see run. So what is that we are running here is we are going to run some commands after establishing an SSH connection. So the arguments we are passing here is the command that we are going to run after establishing the connection, that is ls. And the username ssh-run.username is msfadmin. So through that brute force attack, we are able to find the username and password. So ssh-run.password is msfadmin. So it's going to log in, establish an SSH connection using the username and password, and then it's going to run this specific command on the victim. So this is the target IP. Let's run this. Let's see what's the output here. So here we are able to get some output. So this is the command that's being run on the victim. So these are the directories and files on the victim. So after establishing an SSH connection using the user ID and password, it's able to run this specific command. And you can very well see, let me exit from my MySQL database here. If I perform an ls, so you can able to see these files and directories. We are able to get them on our attacking system by using an SSH connection. And for this, the script we have run is ssh-run.nse. So we have passed three arguments here. One is the command, and another one is the username, and another one is the password. And we have also mentioned the target IP. With that, we are coming to an end of this session. I hope you were able to follow and understand how exactly we can use Nmap scripts on the victim. And again, a reminder, this is just for educational purposes only, and do not try these things on systems for which you don't have permission. So what all the scripts you have learned, just a quick recap. We have looked at various scripts that will help us scan and get information about a MySQL database server running on the victim. We also looked at few more scripts like scanning the SMB server, the Samba server running on the victim, and scripts corresponding to scanning FTP services and performing brute force attack on FTP services. And finally, we are looking at how to establish an SSH connection and perform a brute force attack using scripts like ssh-brute.nse and ssh-run.nse, and thereby we were able to run certain commands on the victim and get the directories and files that are available on the victim. With that, we are coming to an end of this session. I hope you were able to follow this. If you have any questions, you can leave those questions as comments below. I'll be addressing those questions. That's it for now. Take care.